5 of the best MCU villains of all time ranked. Hello, and welcome back, guys, to our channel, Superstar Inc. Surprisingly, characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have fleshed out personalities. The Marvel movies have evil and good characters, both that are termed as heroes and villains. Today, we are talking about the best MCU villains of all time, and why not? After all, villains are also powerful, providing a genuine threat. Dreykov, Black Widow. First, we are talking about Dreykov, the villain or evil personality from the movie Black Widow. This primary villain from the movie is shrouded in mystery for the entire bulk appearance. Ray Winstone played the character Dreykov, and he was the one after whom both Yelena and Natasha were going. But Winstone doesn't do anything until the climax occurs and talks about the villain. He is so powerful and terrifying, the one controlling the bodies and minds of a cadre of young women worldwide. Even though he is terrifying, his connection to Yelena, Melina, and Natasha is highly effective and is unforgettable. Loki, Thor, Avengers, Thor Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, Loki. One can surely argue that Loki is close to the anti-hero and away from the villain personality in the series he appeared in. He is one of the most wonderful, powerful, joyous, and evil villains whom everyone loves. He killed Coulson and killed another random guy standing beside him, and when he ripped those liners, he stood up cheering when Hulk smashes Thor. The character himself was so excellent with consistency, and he is a villain that changes little by little with time. When he and Bruce Banner met again in Thor, it was great. Loki always relies on someone else to do his work for him. Surprisingly, when he desires to, the famous villain becomes a hero who is a great fighter. Loki showcased his skills properly when he was helping his younger brother and other heroes in the series, but as a villain, he proved that he could cause damage to anyone. He was often underrated for his fighting ability, and it is entirely because he had so much charm and charisma, which is what everyone loved. However, he can be a fabulous fighter who never underestimates while paying the price for it. Vulture, Spider-Man Homecoming. Over any other franchise, Spider-Man, not just Homecoming but every version, including Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield films, always had a feeling that felt somehow warm and smaller despite being the major blockbuster. That was the incredibility it holds. The massive part of those arrives in what's a Spider-Man movie tradition, a villain who has somehow an oddly close feeling and relationship to the hero. Tobey Maguire has the biggest enemies in his best friend's father and mentor, and Tom Holland discovers a similar foe in Adrian Toomas being the Vulture. But for only a little moment, let's have a look at Keaton. On top of anything else, being a great actor is a great performance. He provided the blue-collar working class to look at how people in the MCU can be adapted and affected after Avengers saved the world, leaving the rubble behind. His narrative entered the movie in such a great way, and considering the origin of Keaton in this genre, he played the role of Batman in the late 80s and 90s. Then he also did other things for some time before he made his appearance in Birdman, where he should have won the popular Oscar award for being the best-known actor for a superhero role. Later, he landed in Spider-Man Homecoming movie, where he played the role of a supervillain, and soon he is going to play the older version of Batman for DCEU. It is a lot more, and frankly, it is incredible stuff. Toomas will also appear over other places, and he was in the trailer for the popular Sony Morbius movie that opened up the entire can of worms that we don't know how to elaborate on. Thanos. Next, we have Thanos, the Great Thanos, a popular and loved villain ever in the world of MCU. He was built up as the ultimate villain within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is also because of his pure fighting ability and power. He always provided some genuine threat to the Avengers and the entire world with his strength and power. Obviously, having all the Infinity Stones makes Thanos more strong, but there is no doubt that he is also a great fighter without those Infinity Stones. However, his ability to work with various other powers is the thing that makes him tough to predict, which is the reason why it takes various heroes working together to take him down. Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron is one of the weirdest movies ever in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that has made far, and talking about it, the sequel to the first big movie, that is highly risky. Joss Whedon, the writer and the director, asked difficult, big, and humorous questions about humanism and percentage with the film. The evil robot of James Spader, the Ultron, is the villain of a mouthpiece for the concerns and ideas. Ultron is the legacy of Tony in a human form, and it is the story of the son denying his father and becoming popular, carving out his own legacy. While the visual design for this character is a little underwhelming, including his Shakespearean-like dialogues and motivations, which are incredible and highly delectable, Spader makes the meal of it. The final scenario between Vision and Ultron, where they discuss the value of humanism, is something that comes from the wind of Whedon in the act Ultron makes for one of the best baddies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, these were the best MCU villains of all time. Let us know your views in the comments below.